Hi guys, it's Ryan. I apologize, but I had a kind of a scheduling issue come up, and I didn't want to just postpone or reschedule the video because we've already done that before. So I wanted to go ahead and film something for you, go over the video coachings with you as well, and send this out. And then for those of you who are available, we can have another session like for Q&As and things this Saturday at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. So we can schedule that. But let me go ahead and go over some of the videos that I've gotten, and we'll go from there. So let me pull them up. And let's see here. One moment, let me grab it. Hope you guys had a good 2 weeks. Here we go. Boom. All right, so this is a note about, it says, we're still working on transitions to get them smoother. We're using the question box to help our focus. Sometimes I get to work on my form, sometimes on Dante's. And then any suggestions? So let's look and see here. All right, so we've got Shiva. We're just going to look at it first. It's just 2 minutes. We'll look at it first, and then we'll offer some ideas. Okay, so first thing is, they're not bad. Second thing, congratulations on the leads, so that's all right. Just a couple ideas, but I wouldn't change too much here, actually. So first thing is you've heard me say, even in the walk, watch the head nod. You can see just a little bit here that the head nod's coming up. So you watch the ears. The ears bob more towards Sheila, like now, coming up, coming up, coming up. Then they are going down, down, down. So when the head nods up, like if you're sitting there and do that to yourself, like pull your chin back, like towards behind you, and then you might start to feel your underneck get tight, your back gets tight. Same thing for the horses. See, like now, you can see the difference. The head nod is going down. The underneck is relaxed. The walk has more swing. A good catch there. But always keep thinking about the concept of fluidity, doing my body what I want my horse to do in there. So I'm going to ride the walk that I want. And it's also to look to you for I am riding the best walk for you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Right? Okay, so what I think I want to just remind you, I mean, there's not much of a change. I mean, so right there, the head came up. And then in the canter transition, in a minute, the head comes up again, like right here. So I think what I want to give you, this idea, is just you have very functional responsiveness now. I don't think having to work super hard. Perhaps you're doing more than you want to, but I think it's on the right track. So for you now, you need to be connected to the rhythm, not just the speed. So right now you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 type of rhythm, and it needs to go from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And without having to think about just getting tight or in your body or in your mind having to go, let's go faster, change the rhythm instead of having to change the speed. When we think about having to add speed, we often get tense because we engage our body. Instead of just going, I'm changing the rhythm now from this 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 1, 2. So now you're going to go from your 1, 2, 1, 2 into 1, 2, 3. You overwork your outside sequel and you bring your outside elbow back. You know all that. But here you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it really wasn't too bad. But just really think about not having to get down and tight. Just think about coming up in the upper body, up in heaven. So you bring the upper body up and change the rhythm. And it may not happen right away, and that's okay. But the canter rhythm here is pretty good. So honestly, for a freestyle, it's not bad at all. I like it. Just think about the rhythm. And then the only thing I want to say is you're kind of in between, like, it's like I said, freestyle, but you've got two hands on the reins. So you're kind of in between casual and concentrated. So I would kind of probably ask you to make a choice. I'm going to be on a loose rein, period. Or so that way I really go to neutral, make a correction, go back to neutral again. Or be on a soft touch where you can really kind of help him a little bit better. But I don't want to dismiss what you're doing, but I think you just need to keep going, keep doing more of it. Think about changing the rhythm. Like that was probably the nicest one. And you can see the canter so nice after the transition. So the transitions have a very nice canter. But in the first walk to trot and then trot to canter, don't think about it having to get faster as much as it is just changing rhythm, right? So I think that's what I would just remind you is just think about not having to get down a tense and drive, because then when you drive, like you saw with the back going down, if you drive that more instead of swinging that, if you drive, this is going to get tight, this gets tight, and the back gets tight, and then the hind legs get shorter steps, and then you get that bad banana, anyway, the bad banana posture instead of the nice flowing, good banana, active hind leg that drives into the transition, and then the neck can be softer. And then just a reminder, in case you haven't heard me say this before for everybody, is in the walk even, I bring it back to fluidity, and you know that in level 2, it's through your body what your horse does in theirs. Just flow with the flow and flow with the go, right? Just not cause any breaks and just to move and do whatever they do, and that way you just kind of harmony with each other. But now, you guys, it's all about having to do in your body what you want your horse to do in theirs. So when they're walking around, tense, tight, whatever, you don't have to do that either. Don't be a victim of the tension and the braciness. You need to ride that walk in your body. But what we might be afraid of is when we're doing that, there's a tiny bit of disharmony because the horse isn't going with you, you're going with the horse. And that disharmony tends to cause us to kind of balk and to not want to lead anymore. And so instead of leading, we follow, and the horse has found release being tight and hasn't learned to look to you. So really offer that in your body, going, what am I riding? And how am I doing it? I'm riding a walk at this speed, at this length of stride, that sort of thing. And this is especially important for more relaxation ideas for now. Let's see, there's one more video here I would like to show you. Christy, I think it's more of an update than it is a question. But just to give some backstory, Christy, this is her horse from Miles. She's a Mustang, and she's recently had some difficulty with Miles getting into the trailer. And Christy actually has gotten another horse trailer, I think, not to avoid the other trailer, but because she needed a smaller one to get around town and in the trails and stuff. I agree. So basically, she's just saying that she's jumped right on. She's going to ask her to get out. You can see that Miles looks comfortable in there. And then the fun part about this is the trailer it's dark. It's not big, open, wide, light. It's dark and it's noisy. So
she wants to come back in.
That's quite nice overall there, Christy. I think you've done a good job. And you can,
yes, that's good.
Her expression looks soft, like she's blinking, she's eating, that sort of stuff. So I think you've done a really nice job. I looked at this earlier, just a moment, and I didn't really hear a question. It was more like an update. I thought that I'd share that with everybody. Let's see. So we all actually remember like nose, neck, and maybe the feet, right? So when she was confident with nose and neck, the feet just popped right up. Good job. And I like the use of your yo-yo game instead of you having to bring her, instead of having to move your feet to bring her on and off and that sort of thing. You could stand still, use the yo-yo game, which is also testing porcupine and driving, right? Because you're asking me to come on. And basically, I said this the last time, I think, maybe it was the time before last, but this idea of having to yield under pressure. And so by using that and holding your feet still and not having to compromise for everything, you set it up where she had to yield to you. So that was really good. And it wasn't about the trailer anymore. It was just, can you come forward? Thank you. Can you back up? Thank you. Yeah, you may have had to wait a little bit when she got stuck in the threshold there, but it's the right thing. So you're on the right track there, Christy, with that. We've talked about this before, but the message I wanted to give you this week was, because I just got back from a trip to Minnesota, and you know, what I'm trying to share with you are tips in supporting your journey to level 4. And what you're going to start to find is that the information gets a little bit redundant. However, it's not about it just being redundant, but it's about having to understand it to a higher depth and scope, to really understanding what those Corelliisms mean, or what Pat means when he says something. And it seems like in level 1, you get it at one level, but then you get it at level 2, it's even deeper. In level 3, it's the same thing, but more. So anyway, but it almost seems like it takes us longer to figure that out, because you can get through level 1 easy. Level 2 takes you longer. Level 3 even longer. Level 4 even longer to get through that, even though the concepts really haven't changed, but it's having to understand what's actually happening, and that's what takes a while. And then having to change your savvy. It becomes a lot less about technique. I think you learn the most technique in level 1, 2, and then you polish it up as you go. It's more about how you set it up and that sort of thing. So what I wanted to give you was a reminder about your warm-ups in the session. And if you've been with me or with Linda, you've heard it 1,000 times, and you can hear it 1,001 times this time, but it's calm, connected, responsive, right? And then what's after that, once you get those things, which we don't talk about so much, is supple, all the while feeling successful. I want the horse feeling successful while I'm helping her become more calm. I want him to feel more successful while I'm helping him to be more responsive. or else it just feels like he's being picked on, right? But the point I'm trying to make is like this weekend, something that I would usually start with is helping people to have an effective, efficient warm-up, because it seems like we go out and we just start playing 7 games, which is awesome because it's how you communicate. However, you need to think about what is the outcome of the session. So what is the goal, right? And I can send you a self-assessment checklist here to help give you some goals that might help you to go, oh, well, let me try this. However, with that, you have the goals, and the warm-up needs to be appropriate to what you're trying to do. It seems like sometimes we go out online and prepared to ride, and we're doing like a small savvy team, you know, all these fancy cow game or shoulders game, whatever you want to call it, and we're doing all kinds of fancy stuff. And when the idea of your warm-up is not to see what you can do, the idea of the warm-up is not to teach something. The idea of the warm-up is to change their state. So can you play to state? So what that means is the state of calmness, the state of connection, the state of responsiveness, and the state of, what's the other one? The state of connection. Oh, sorry, no, state of suppleness. So calm, connected, responsive, and therefore supple. And thinking about it as state, because now what you have to do, and I can help you, is you already have so many strategies to help you with the calmness, with the connection, with the responsive, and with the suppleness. And having just to organize what your strategies and what you're going to do are. So for example, your right brain extrovert, you might come out in the goals to get them calm, because we know that on the quadrants, they need what? They need focus me. So then you've got to go out, personality, focus me, and use figure 8 patterns, use touch it games, use whatever that is to organize the feet. We have to remember that a right brain extrovert has a slow mind, but a fast body. So with fast body and mind, you can't suppress them all the time. You can't just do disengagements and say you can't move. They have to move. You do hindquarter yields. You do all the basic hide the hiney type stuff to stay in control. Once you have control, then you need to give them what they need, which is to move but organized. So you've got your, figure 8, something that's very consistent, right? For right brain extrovert, they find comfort in consistency, right? So what you'll start to find for that right brain extrovert is thinking about all these states and cups, right? They've got a calmness cup, a connection cup, the responsive cup, and the suppleness cup. And the connection cup is low, therefore the calmness cup is low, that's what I said. The connection cup is therefore low. Responsiveness cup is dry, and therefore the suppleness cup is like been sitting out in the sun for 2 days, and it's really, really dry because they're tennis tight running around, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that I have to put my focus on helping him get more calm. When he gets more calm, then he'll get more responsive, and then he'll get more connected, and then he'll get more supple. With the right brain introvert, you may have to organize your strategy in a similar way, but what motivates right brain introvert? And it's all about comfort for them. So RBE, it's about safety. RBI, it's about comfort. And we've got to give them that in the warm-up, right? So the safety, then the comfort. And so what might your RBI warm-up be? It might just be not even about yielding so much, but about just building rapport and being there and taking the pressure off, because they expect you to put pressure on. When you do put pressure on, you're going to do it in a way that you have to go through the phases with the RBI. If you do not use your phases with the RBI, they are going to feel like you're pushing them too much, and then they're going to explode, right? So they'll go along, and the next thing you know, boom, and you didn't even see it coming. So pressure and release, or just pressure and release is a really big deal. But you've got to release. You've got to put pressure on in phases, and then you have to release, and there's total comfort there. So that's a really big deal for the RBIs, and then having to give them time. The introverts, you have to slow down. The Right brainers, you use consistency. Extroverts, you can use more variety. And extroverts, you can use, you speed up, you go faster, you give them more challenges. Left brains, you can use more variety. But for now, we've got to use consistency and slow down. I'm trying to think about this being the chart, right? RBI, you've got to use consistency and slow it down. RBI for extroverts, you've got to use consistency, but speed it up. Okay. So I want to get them to become more calm in their body, more calm in themselves, more calm with me, and even though they're not moving their feet. But they're inside, they're really worried and stressed, but we often don't see it because we don't see them. It's just we don't see them moving so much. The RBEs, we can see that. It's very obvious. We have to remember that the RBI has a slow mind and a slow body. So the pressure has to come on slowly. The movement has to be fairly slow. It can't be too quick. And then once they get more calm, they'll get more responsive, they'll get more connected, and then they'll get more supple. Moving over to LBI. So we said extrovert, speed up. RBI, consistent. Introvert, slow down. The left brains kind of more variety, more challenges, that sort of thing. So with that, we've got our LBI, and thinking about the cups, he is already calm. The calmness cup is overflowing, right? So you don't start there with them. You don't have to just spend an hour building rapport. They already have that. They trust you. They are calm in the environment usually. So I'm making an assumption, but most of the time that's the case. So your next job is just to move into getting them to become more responsive, because that's what they're not, right? They're often kind of dull and pushy. That's the words we use to describe them. And in other words, they're pushing on you, so not responding to you. They're dull to your leg, again, pushing on you, not responsive. That's how we know to go there. So we move to responsiveness. However, you start just picking on them, and next thing you know, they're have this big tantrum, big opinion, not doing it. They just shut down even more. And so the goal is to, how do I get responsiveness, but without it becoming a drill or a fight or something that they're going to regret, or just not like. That's not the right word, regret, but they're not going to like it. So for example, like this weekend, to use a riding example, because they wanted to work on, I don't even remember what it was, but we couldn't pass go because they were using, like, which isn't a wrong thing to do to get to be functional, but they had like little bumpers on their heels. And so she was going straight to her heels, asked the horse to go. And that's okay. But then it would be like, go. And then the horse goes. And then they kept asking to go all the time. The horse never found release going, and was always kind of made to go, right? So it's like they had no choice. I'm going to my heels. You're going to move. And then we're going to do, and then we're going to move some more, and move some more, and move some more, move some more, which is what our LBI does not want. So I didn't say, let's not ask him to go, but you could do that. That is the reverse ecology strategy. So yes, you could do that. But I asked the horse to go, but we use what we know. We have patterns, and you've, like earlier I said, touch it and the figure eight. I mean, that's all things that you've learned in the Four Savvies or in the old patterns DVDs that used to be sold separately. Now you've got your all the million transitions. You don't have to make transition 1, 2, 3, or even up to 8 perfect, right? The idea is to move, is to go, use variety. And we're walking faster, and we're walking slower, and we're stopping, and we're trotting slow, and we're trotting fast, and we're going to walk. But it happens here. I know, like Michelle, who's on here, and let's see, I think that might be it. But if you watched lessons with like Christoph Hess or something, that's what he's doing. He gets horses to have an active hind leg by using transitions a lot. And it's not that you make any one transition a big deal. You just do it again and again and again. And you might go, but Ryan, isn't that being too consistent for the left brain horse? And the answer might be yes. You might just be going there. You don't want to because they're doing the same thing. But that's why you go, I'm walking at this speed, and then I'm going to walk faster, and then I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to drop slow, and then I'm going to drive it, and then I'm going to canter. The horse doesn't even know what's coming. So even though the LBI doesn't like to move their feet, you can still add variety in terms of how you set it up. And then the goal, if you do your job right, is that whenever he does start to move and he puts effort into moving and he gets active or more responsive, then you quit. You rub him, you stop. Don't worry about having to ride perfect. Just rub him and go, that's the goal. I need you to fall in love with moving as much as I've helped you fall in love with standing still. So that's the puzzle. But what I'm trying to give you is kind of a context for not just having to go out and do stuff before you start to ride or to do stuff before you start to train. Is what are you doing in the first little while to prepare them to learn, or to prepare them to be gymnastic, or to prepare them to be trained, really. So horsenality is not what you do, but how you do it. And then if we can kind of overlay this model of calm, connected, responsive over it. So we've talked about a right brain extrovert, they need safety. Therefore, they need to get more calm first. RBI needs to feel comfortable. So again, it's a need for calmness. The LBI needs to know what's in it for me. What's the incentive? What's the reason for doing this? And right now, they're often food motivated, right? So we go, there's a reason, and that's the food, which is fine. But then the reason needs to be because you find neutral in doing this, right? It feels best for you. So we need to make moving that way for them. But the point that I'm trying to make with the responsiveness is you can get responsiveness without having to make it a huge deal and a fight. You just, like the pattern of 1 million transitions, do it until they just kind of go, well, I guess it's easier to keep going. And you go, what a good idea. And you don't make it a big deal. You go up your phases as you need, but don't make transition 3 the most important thing you've ever done, because then it's going to become a fight. Just keep doing it. And if you watch like lessons with Christoph Hess or something, you've seen that. And then, but also we're going, but the million transitions happening fast, that's kind of contradictory to what you're saying with the extroverts and introverts. But that's where for the introvert, you can do that. You can use that as a strategy, but then you have to think about they need to slow down. So even though it feels painful because you just got them moving, you've got to stop and give them a break. If you keep going, that's when you're going to hit problems. You can use these techniques and these patterns and strategies, but you got to get the horse what they need to. And the introvert needs to slow down. They need to rest. They need a break. So after you get the right level of commitment or responsiveness, then you're going to go back, have a rest, and start again until you expect the responsiveness to happen off the bat, and it'll come. And then left brain extrovert, that naughty, pushy, whatever, right? And the T-shirt that they wear says "Play with me," and the LBI had a fast mind but a slow body. The LBE has a fast mind and a fast body, so you can be a little more particular to some degree after you get them warmed up, but you can have a little more specific tasks, like if you're going to play touch a game, right, to move their feet. So we're at the extroverts, we got to move them. You can say touch the logo on the ball. Oh, I can't touch it. Touch the logo on the ball. Don't just touch the ball, but touch that spot. And then you go around and you'll say touch that spot on the fence, or back between the barrels. Don't, have a set of 4 barrels out and pick the left set or the right set. And he doesn't know, he's got to read you. So you can be particular like that. But at the same time, whenever he doesn't do it, so this is the warm up, right? This isn't so much the perfect training just yet. This is the how do I get you in the mood when it doesn't work well? You just start again. It's a zero brace. You just kind of keep going until they put effort in the right direction. You don't go, oh, you missed it, let me get you back in line. No, just bring them back and start again. And because if you're backing through those sets of barrels on, if you had 4 left or right, if you're backing between the left set of barrels and he wants to go out, what is he not doing? He's not yielding and not responsive. So just keep doing that. Don't try to make it a big deal, because then it's too picky, and that becomes critical versus being particular. I don't know if you're able to follow along with that or not, but it's when things aren't going well. It's kind of like, because like in the backing, he missed the barrels. He's like getting all snaky. He's leaking out the shoulder. He's not straight. He's not maintaining gait backwards. So just play with, I'm going to keep going until you're responsive, and you'll be surprised at how much more straight they get, right? How much more straight. How straighter they get. How much, goodness. Anyway, so really thinking about this in terms of calm, connected, responsive. Once those things happen, they'll start to get more supple, but all the while you want them to become more feeling successful in themselves. That's really the end goal. And remember that the warm-up can take 2 minutes. It could take 22 minutes. It could take 42 minutes. But the idea is that it becomes more efficient as you go. So today it might take me a while. Tomorrow, hopefully, it'll take me less time. And the goal is really to get the horse just to start to solve puzzles. It's like you start to do something. You do this touch it game to make them to feel a certain way. You don't play touch it game just for something to do and kill time until they're safe to ride. You do it to make them feel a certain way. And that's this whole play to state. You need to start picking strategies that's going to cause them to become more calm. Pick the strategies that's going to cause them to become more responsive. Pick the strategy that's going to end up causing them to become more supple. We'll talk about that more later, and more connected. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you this idea, and I know you've heard it before, but it's really a huge idea. Because when you give them what they need, they'll give you what you want. And if they need to be calm, you've got to help them find that, own that, live in that state before you're able to start to stack other things on top of that. Like, if they're not calm, you're going to have a hard time with any task you try to do, right? Because it's going to be done with tension and with brace. And then, yes, some tasks can help them become more calm. That's kind of what we're talking about, but you need to do it for that purpose. Do a leg yield to help them get more calm, which helps them get more supple, right? But you have to do it with that intention, not just it's leg yield day. And then you have to do, anyway, so that's kind of what I want to give you. And I think that's important too, is to know that all the tasks you have, they're good. Now you need to organize them and use them on purpose and use them with an intention. Back on session number 2, I think of this series, I did the whole idea of what are the 7 games and why you play the 7 games, and to use them as tools, not just techniques and tasks. So same conversation again, but at a higher level, is all the things what you're doing in level 3, level 4, and even if you're still in level 2, is we get kind of stuck in Pirelli and going, this is how we move through the program. But what you need to remember too is, how do I train my horse to feel these certain ways and to use these tasks? And the Savvy Club is laid out to teach you, not so much to teach the horse. And so right now I'm trying to come back and cause you to, especially in the warm-up, go, what do they need, so that I can keep going, and then I can do those tasks that's in the Savvy Club in the order that they are, instead of having to bounce around so much. So I hope this makes sense. Just trying to overlap the idea of personality with safety, comfort, play, incentive, what's in it for me. This one says focus me. The RBI says be gentle with me. The LBE says play with me. The LBI says what's in it for me. You've got to sprinkle that in. And I think it's really such a powerful statement, but you give them what they need, they'll give you what you want. And if you can just focus the first 20 minutes of your session to be warm up, giving them what they need, that doesn't mean that you find harmony with them and just go to LBI wants to eat grass. You don't have to sit and eat grass for 20 minutes. You can still start to lead the conversation, but it has to be in a way that there's still incentive in it for them, that the release is very obvious, that it's not too hard, that the goal's clear, so that you play to state, you just don't do stuff. So after you watch this, I apologize about not being able to do this for you live, but I'll be on an airplane, so it'd be kind of hard to do that. I would love to hear your feedback. If you could send me an email, you could either call me, leave me you could either call me, and if I don't answer, then leave me a voicemail. You can text me. I don't care. Just somehow send me a note and tell me what you took away from this conversation. We've had similar ones before, but hopefully this is a little more clear, because it was just it was so apparent this weekend too. You know, we had everything. It was pretty extreme, really. We had saddlebreds and draft horses. So we had like the RBEs, like woo, and then we had the draft horses that are designed or bred to push on things, right? So it was pretty fun, really. But it was a huge conversation, and for me as an instructor of this and being with Linda, it almost sounds quite redundant to say the same thing over again. But it's so powerful to see owning these things as principle and not just as, yeah, that makes sense and it sounds good, but it's how you operate. And so to organize the clinic a little bit around that, I thought was quite fun, and the changes were really cool. And then your horse is going to get so much more trust in you. Left brain horses too are going to trust you more as their leader. They don't need you as the leader, right? So that's why you have so many difficulties. But they're going to trust you to lead them. They're going to turn over to you, and then the RBI is just going to trust you because they're not scared of you anymore. So that's such a big deal, becoming more responsive and more calm, and then you get more connection. But anyway, this back to what I was saying. Just please send me a note. Let me know what you took away from watching this, and then if I will be on Zoom again, I'll send out it'll be the same meeting ID. I will email it though on Saturday. I'll just hop on, and it can be short, it can be long. I'll schedule an hour, but it might not take that long. I'll just have it open for basic question and answer, either on this or anything else. If you have some other videos, send them to me. But I will see you hopefully this Saturday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that would be 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Yeah, we'll see you then. But send me a note. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll talk to you soon. Savvy. Have a good day, guys.